Welcome back to another video. A video here on the channel. Today we are going to make some lasagna. I'm going to show you how to make lasagna. You pardon my mess a little bit because we just picked up new tires for one of the Corvettes last night. I didn't get a chance to put those away yet, but make sure that you stay tuned because this summer we're going to be putting these tires on the Black Beauty. Alright, right on to our lasagna. Now I've got a pan over here. Depending on what size pan you want, go ahead and get whatever size you're going to make. Put just a little bit of sauce in the bottom. I like Hunt's. I like the flavor of Hunt's. They make different flavors. You can put whatever flavor you want. Once you get just a little bit in the bottom, just enough so that your noodles don't stick to the bottom. Now I am using oven-ready lasagna noodles. You can use regular noodles if you want, but you've got to boil them first. Need just a little bit more in there. Alright, now when I was a kid, my mom always used cottage cheese when she made lasagna. But I got a recipe as I got older, and I think the majority of people use ricotta cheese. So I've got ricotta cheese here. As you can see, I've got most of my noodles pre-done, but I'm going to do one for you, just so that you can see it. So these are oven ready. They still look like regular noodles that need to be cooked, but they don't need to be cooked. Make sure that you don't get those confused. If you put regular noodles in, and you don't cook them, and they're not the oven-ready ones, they're going to be hard. I mean, they're going to cook a little bit, but they're still going to be hard. So make sure that if you have oven-ready ones, you're fine. If you don't, make sure that you put them, boil them first, okay? So I'm going to get myself a nice layer of ricotta cheese across there. And I'm going to set that down. I'm also going to put my other ones there, okay? Now the next thing that I'm going to do, now this is what I got from my mom's recipe. Well, she always put cottage cheese in there. You don't need to put a real lot. I put just a couple of little scoops. And then I got the large curd. You're going to want the small curd if you think of it, because the large curd sits up a little bit higher. The small one you can get a thinner layer. And I don't like too much cottage cheese, but I like a little bit because that's just the way I was raised. And you can skip this step completely if you don't want cottage cheese in yours. That is fine. Now prior to assembling this, I've got my ground beef already cooked up. I put peppers in it. I used some sweet peppers. If you look over here, I've got my ground beef already ready. I used some sweet peppers, and I used a lot of garlic. And then this is already cooked up. You're going to put this in. Now, you can make 2 or 3 layers on here. I am only going to do 2 layers. If you do 3 layers, make sure that you put them pretty thin. Otherwise, you're going to really get a tall dish that you're making here. So, you're going to put half of your ground beef, or a third if you're going to do a 3rd layer. I'm only going to do 2 layers. I think that 3 is going to be a little bit too high. So you're going to go ahead and use about half of your ground beef. Now make sure that you use a lean ground beef and make sure that you drain it because you do not want greasy. So I've got that. What I forgot to take out is my cheese. You're going to want cheese, mozzarella cheese. Always use mozzarella cheese on lasagna. That's better. And spread that out. I'll run a line right down the middle like that, and then I'll spread it out from there. I don't know if you can see that. You might have to get a little closer in there. Now, depending on how much you want, you can use a lot or a little bit of cheese. I have 16 ounces here. That's a pound for those of you who don't know math, or 4 cups. I'm going to use the whole bag, so I'm going to use about half of it on each layer. I'm going to try to spread that out evenly all the way across. And I'm going to put some more sauce. Right across there. Now I'm going to use my whole can of sauce. So I put a little bit on the bottom. I'm going to put about half of it in the middle, and then I'm going to put the last half on top. Now I start the exact same layer over again. I'm going to put my noodles. Which I probably could use a 4th noodle because as my pan gets higher, it widens out just a little bit. And I actually like noodles, so I'm going to put a fourth noodle on there versus we only had 3 on the bottom. But that's fine. If you've got kids, kids like noodles too. So they're going to want that fourth noodle in there. Now I'm going to put a little bit more of cottage cheese again. And remember, you can skip this step if you don't want it. This is going to be weird for some people. It's going to be good for some people. Other things that I didn't put any onions in my meat. If you want to, go ahead. Mushrooms, you can put mushrooms in there. I didn't put mushrooms. I just put some peppers and some unseasoning, of course. But otherwise, I just put peppers and garlic in it. I used some seasoned salt. I used some black pepper. And I used a little bit of garlic. No, it wasn't garlic salt. There we go. A little bit of minced onion, because I didn't actually put any onions in it. So I did that. All right, so we got that. We're going to put the rest of our sauce right on top of there. I'm done with this now, so I can use this. I should probably use this scraper side. Try to get out all that sauce. And we're just going to spread that out a little bit. Now, if you don't have it all spread out completely perfect, especially the sauce, that is okay, because as you cook it, it's going to distribute itself evenly. Things like your cheese is going to melt a lot, and it's going to distribute itself out a lot better too. And your meat is going to stay pretty much where you put it. So you're going to want to spread your meat out pretty good as best as you can. You can put more or less meat in, depending on your personal taste. But typically 1 pound, maybe 1.5 pounds, will take care of your 8x10 dish. Now, if you recall, we're going to use the rest of the cheese. There's a little more in there. Let's not waste that. All right, we're going to spread this out nice and even. Now, our oven is already preheated to 350 degrees. Your oven should be preheated as well when you start cooking your meat, because your oven takes about as long to preheat as your ground beef is going to take to cook. There we go. So we put this in the oven. We're going to cook this for about an hour, or until we've got nice golden brown around the edge of the cheese, okay? Now, just like in the real cooking shows, I've already got one cooked and ready to pull out. So, look at this. Nice golden brown cheese. We could have probably pulled this out about 3 minutes earlier, but that's okay, because that looks beautiful. Boom! Now, what lasagna is really good for, if you make a larger dish than what you can eat, wait until it cools down, because it'll become a lot firmer when it cools down. You can cut yourself some nice pieces, put it in a Tupperware container, put that in the freezer. It makes excellent lunches. They're easy to get. They're frozen. You can take them out, throw them in the microwave. If you're going to work, you can pull them out, throw them in your lunchbox, put them in the refrigerator. They'll already be thawed by the time you get there. If you don't have super good sealing Tupperware, go ahead and put a piece of saran wrap over the top and then put your lid on. That'll keep it fresher for longer. If you want to see more videos like this, put something in the comments. Or, I think there's a little bell over here that you can ring. Go ahead and ring that bell. That'll be the alerts. That'll tell you we're having another video. Alright? If you're watching this channel for the first time, and you haven't already, and you want to, please subscribe.